Afternoon, farmers and aspiring farmers. It's Dr. Nyasha here again from Guta-Guta Mixed Farming with another episode. So before I go into our current and future plans and how we got there, I thought I would do a quick episode detailing how to acquire land in Zimbabwe specifically for farming purposes, and I'll go into detail about how we acquired our 6-hectare plot of land in Chegutu and our exciting future plans ahead. So yeah, this is a very difficult and complex issue, difficult to get a concrete answer that will be reliable and applicable to everyone's situation. Now, most of us in the diaspora will probably be going via sabhuku deals rather than going to one of the well-known established estate agents to try and get hold of farmland, as this is incredibly expensive. You may end up paying £1 million or £2 million to get hold of a piece of land for farming, which most of us in the diaspora don't have. So it's most likely that most of us will be going via the sabhuku deals. So the sabhuku is the elected head of a village with many roles over the geographical area that they're the custodian of. One of those being allocating land. Specifically, if I go to the area that I'm from, I can speak to the sabhuku and tell him I want so and so hectares of land for farming purposes. Now, you have to be very careful that you're not dealing with a land baron who may be posing as a sabhuku, but is essentially involved in illegal land dealing that they have no right to be selling, and you essentially lose all of your investment. Now, in getting land for farming purposes, what would I suggest? And respect the tradition, see the sabhuku, they are the custodians of the land, but also seek as many professionals or seek professional help as well from different people. So I would recommend going to the council, seeing the rural district council, who also have information on this land. But most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, you have to get a legitimate lawyer involved. And there's so many details on the internet. You can just find one and involve them from the start of the process to the end before you give the sabhuku or anyone else any money. They will save you thousands of pounds and a lot of headache. Now, obviously, you've been dealing with a land baron rather than a legitimate sabhuku. Your dream of starting a farming project from the diaspora back home will be over before it started, and many Zimbabweans have fallen prey to these unfortunate land barons. So yes, if you can take one thing away from this video, see a lawyer. I cannot stress how important it is. Now, before you've even bought this land, you have to realize that sabhukus are the custodians of the land, as I've said, but the land still ultimately belongs to the government. We specifically have user rights rather than a full title deed, meaning we can use the land for specific purposes, which are agriculture, farming, crops, animals, but we don't have the full title deed. The land still ultimately belongs to the government, so consider it as a long lease. So don't build mansions on these rural lands, as there's no town planning, things like that. It's essentially illegal. Just use it for business, make money, go into Harare or somewhere else where there's land with full title deeds, and you can do what you want. That's another really important point to stress. If you do get hold of rural land, remember this is termed communal land, meaning it belongs to the government and will be used by the people on a basis that can be considered a long lease, but you don't have a full title deed. So really don't build a mansion, as that will affect its sell-on value much later down the line. So yes, really, as a funny guy on Facebook, I'll put his video there, always stresses, yes, do these sabhuku deals, do businesses on the sabhuku deals, make enough money on there, go buy a proper piece of land somewhere where there's town planning and it's legal to build a house with full title deeds, and you won't go wrong. Another probably less common way to get land is to apply for resettlement land. This is the land that was won back from the colonizers during the independence struggle and also the land reform program. But the waiting list to get a piece of termed resettlement land is quite long. So I guess most people will still go via the sabhuku deals to get hold of a piece of what's called communal land, which again, ultimately, the government still owns. Yes, just to summarize, really, number one, see a lawyer. Yes, sabhuku deals. There's some controversy over it as the rules are always changing, the law is always changing, but consult the services of a lawyer and see the counsel, and you're likely, or you're less likely, sorry, to get scammed. So for us, we're quite lucky that land was available from family members at the time that we needed it, and they were willing to accept money. So once we figured all this out, we decided which piece of land we wanted, as we had two options, one in Rusape, where my grandmother's from, and one in Chegutu, where other family members are from. So we decided to take the piece of land in Chegutu just because it would have less family complications associated with it, as we all know what sort of dealing with family and working with family in business can be like. So we paid that family member, but after seeing a lawyer, after seeing the council, making sure everything was above board and that he had the right to sell us this land. Again, you can never be careful. A family member can scam you. You hear many of these stories about. So we got this land legitimately. And again, I still would advise, not to build mansions, things like that in rural areas, just in case government legislation changes, town planning things change, and you often see these big beautiful houses get demolished. So yes, use it for business. Next, for Guta-Guta mixed farming. So the 6 hectares that we're running our several projects, a small piggery, chickens and goats, was in the middle of nowhere. Essentially, it was good 20 kilometers from the nearest tarred road. So transport for us was becoming quite expensive, getting our chickens to and from market, and getting feed, things like that. So we've consulted the services of that same lawyer who helped us acquire this piece of land in Chegutu, but this time we'll be opting to rent a bigger piece of land from another Zimbabwean farmer who my mother had made a connection with, who have a farming over a large piece of land, and they're gonna section us a small section of that, which we can use up to 100 hectares of that, which is quite exciting. But obviously, capital is limited, so the aim will be to initially start with clearing off about 5 hectares of this land, get some staff accommodation, our chicken houses, and move our chicken project and piggery there. And hopefully within the next few months, sort of start clearing a bit more land so we can produce our own feed, as transport for us and feed are really affecting the profits. So I think if we can get on top of this before, especially the pigs, really start to multiply, I think there'll be a lot more profit to be enjoyed. So stay tuned. Again, thanks for watching this video. It's Dr. Nyasha here. Guta Mixed Farming. I'll see you. Bye bye.